Hey everybody, and welcome to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Ash Paulston, and today I'm joined by my wonderful friends and GVG co-founders, Steve Bowling and Derek Bittner, but no special guest today. However, fear not, we have an entire slate of guests lined up for next week. We're going to be just guesting it like crazy next week. So we figured we'd just bring you a show.
I have a guest already lined up for not just this coming Friday, so 1 week from now, but 2 weeks from now. So we're
nice.
Doing pretty well on guests. It's just getting him lined up and schedules ironed out, I guess is the best way to put it.
Right. Oh. Yeah, and as I've teased earlier, we can look forward to Tim Geddes of Kind of Funny Games being on Friday next week, so that's going to happen. And then do you guys want to talk about Monday?
Monday we will have Kadikarus, barring any other. He was supposed to be on tonight, but he had some other things to get done, and hey, you got to get your own stuff done. So that's exactly what it comes down to. So we'll have Kadikarus on Monday, and
Wednesday's not quite locked in yet. I'm
Wednesday's
trying
not
to,
quite locked in. We have somebody in mind. We're just trying to lock him in, and then the following following Friday we'll have Masayanella, who I'm excited about.
Sweet.
So.
I'm totally going to take some heat for this on Monday, but this whole time, I totally pronounce Kadikarus' name as Catakaris. When I read it, I just think Catakaris. I don't know why, but clearly it's Kadikarus. So I'm glad to know that before the show, so I can at least make fun of myself and not knowingly walk into a mispronunciation. Nice. But before we continue, we have a personal story. I want to say a statement, but it's more of a personal anecdote from our sponsor for today's episode, Straight Lace. And Straight Lace says, "Hey everyone, Straight Lace here. 7.5 years ago, I began my journey as an indie game dev, culminating about 2.5 years ago with the release of my first game, The Sol Device. Inspired by some of my favorite games like Portal and conceptually based off some doodles I made in high school, the game is a puzzle platformer where the player's main ability is to create temporary platforms by shooting projectiles onto walls at the cost of the player's HP. I did my best to design thought-out puzzles to fully utilize this mechanic that require both thought to solve and skill to execute. The game features a large map to explore, new devices and abilities to find, 3 different endings, and a number of post-game challenges. The Sol Device is available now on Steam, and I hope you enjoy it if you choose to pick it up. Oh, and one of the benefits of being a game dev is that you can update your game. At the mention of a specific YouTube channel, the latest update to the game now features a dog, and you can in fact pet it. I love it.
Nice.
I love it was added by me. It's located in the concept art room after completing any of the game's endings."
Nice.
Well, thank you for that, Straight Lace, and that's awesome. For those of you watching the VOD version, we're going to have a link to the Sol Device in the description below, so please make sure to check out his game, if you can. And I mean, why wouldn't you now? Why wouldn't you before? But now that it features a dog that you can pet, what's stopping you? Really, come on, what's stopping you?
Yeah, exactly. And I want to extend my personal thanks to Straight Lace. He actually sent us each codes for this before the show.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
We'll be checking it out. We'll talk about it next time we're able to, because I know a lot of times we download games and then time just goes by. So
that happens a lot. We try to get stuff done and just
it does indeed.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast time runs out just to do anything, whether it's get channel stuff done, get outside work stuff done, play games. It's I don't know. We need like a pocket dimension where we can just escape to whenever we need to, just to have time, where time just goes at a crawl.
I mean, Steve, I'm assuming you thought of the exact same thing I did when he said that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Ash is obviously not a DBZ fan.
Yeah.
It's okay. Now I got it. because
or the hyperbolic time chamber, as it's called.
Yeah,
in America.
hyperbolic.
I actually know the hyperbolic time chamber. I was actually thinking Scott Pilgrim, because Ramona Flowers can escape into her subspace.
Yep.
In her bag at any time, and that's just kind of like a little pocket dimension. But yes, the hyperbolic time chamber. That's where Goku goes to train under King Kai, right?
No. Oh, come on.
It's not?
I can't
totally
on this, especially with Brandon Bovey on the chat right now.
Nice.
That is King Kai's planet, which also, little DBZ nerd fact for you, has the exact same gravity as the Saiyan's home planet, Vegeta.
Okay.
That's right.
But no, it's a chamber. It's basically a pocket dimension where you can train for a year in the time a day passes in the real world. So one day,
I knew that.
Outside,
for some reason, I thought it was.
Yeah,
I thought for some reason I thought it was associated with the King Kai, but I knew that what it actually was. Okay, cool.
Super reveals that there's more than one of those too. Like they find another one on some weird planet, and Goku trains in there. And
I need to catch up on Super. I need to get that Viz app.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the Shonen Jump app, $2 a month. It's like the best value in nerdery anywhere. Like $2 a month to read unlimited manga is my jam.
I mean, that's fantastic. Is it better than
everybody's
Game Pass,
talking
though?
about granola.
Oh man, yeah. We could go on this whole thing about granola, but I have this like theory, like this Charlie from It's Always Sunny theory, like about just what is going to happen in this new arc with granola and 7-3 and the angel powers that he absorbed. That's a whole other. That's like a whole episode I could do. But...
Yeah.
Is this still Dragon Ball? Are we talking about a character named Granola in Dragon Ball?
All the Dragon Ball
it's a new character that just showed up.
I love it. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah,
I love Dragon Ball character names. I love them.
Oh, they're the best.
Say, they're all named for food. He's a cerealian, which I mean, come on.
That's fantastic.
That is amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to address because I've seen a couple questions come up in the chat. My hand is much better. I'm not 100%. The bandage is off, but it still hurts quite a bit. But I can like type now and edit videos now, which is good.
He's stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got that
I'm at like
boost.
85% strength. I could use some time in the room of spirit and time or the hyperbolic time chamber just to heal the damn hand. But
we just need to cast Asuna on you, or Asunaga, depending on how bad your hand injury is. But we'll get you. I mean, I feel like a sprained hand it counts as a status ailment, right? Doesn't that count, or is it just a regular cure spell?
I
don't know.
guess it would be a status ailment. It'll get better, right? I don't know. It better get better.
Yeah. BJ Bovia says that Granola is basically a Chrono Trigger character, which you've had me at Chrono. That's all I need to hear. I'm
he really
eminently interested in this character already.
He really does look like a Chrono Trigger character. He's
nice.
The hair design, the gear he wears, yeah, it definitely gives off strong Chrono Trigger vibes. Next Patreon goal is to get Steve a bionic hand. I am down.
I saw that. And
I'd
Young
for
Ben
the
Kenobi
time
says,
for
just wanted to say Steve
to,
is looking great today.
Oh wow!
Wow, thank you. I didn't do my hair. I guess the less effort, the better.
There you go. That's how it all goes. Man, I love the time and the ability to just chat manga with Steve for a while, for like for an hour, just talk about what we've read and just catch up on that and be fun.
Oh man!
But there is something else before we actually get to the news that we did all do before.
Yes, we did
this one. So how about that Balan Wonderworld demo? Because I attempted to put a playthrough up of it. At least my idea was, oh cool, I'll show off the Switch version and the PS4 version because we got 2 levels right off the bat. That's nice and easy. I can show off the boy and the girl. There's a nice amount of differences. Except my recordings decided to screw up and double up on the audio just because of me not muting a certain thing. And it was in the video itself. There was no way for me to fix it. Oh. And I love you guys, but not enough to replay this demo with basically 2 more times in order to show off the differences. Because, basically, what I can say to sum up my thoughts on the demo from playing both the Switch and PS4 version, which get the PS4 version if you're going to get this game because Switch is a little rough. I like the world design. There is really nothing to do. The powers are kind of uninspiring, and it really does just feel like baby's first platformer.
It's just
kind of
my thoughts on
dull.
Yeah. It is, and I have complicated thoughts because I wanted to believe in this game, right? It's Yuji Naka. Obviously, the aesthetic is kind of based on knights. I love that, and I want to give this game a big warm hug because it is trying so hard to be a Saturn era 3D platformer, and I love the thought of that. I love the Saturn, and I love knights. But the game is just so janky, and you can't overlook that. It is so janky. Even the running animation looks like it's way too fast for the pace the character's actually taking. And it's such a shame. And it reminds me of a lot of the, more average 3D Sonic games. And I guess given the pedigree, it's a shame because again, what it's trying to be, I love it, and I respect the hell out of that, but it just doesn't, the actual game is not very good.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been saying from the beginning that this game wasn't going to be good. And I was right, but the biggest issue for me, I agree with you 100%, by the way, Ash. It is so trying to capture that late 90s Sega Saturn nostalgia, specifically Knights. Like, I remember when the bad guy, I guess he's the bad guy, shows up, I'm like, oh, that's Riala.
Yeah, exactly. I said the same thing. It's like, oh, hi, Riala.
Yeah, Riala with like the dollar store T virus that turns you into turns farmers into rabbits for some reason.
Right.
But I mean, I got strong Knights vibes off of it in terms of just the overall feel, like the fact that the world is dreamlike, and even when you pick up like what are they called, like Balan fragments or whatever. The sound that those make when you pick them up sound like when you get orbs in Knights. Are they Tims? Yeah. What?
Yeah, they're called Tims.
They're called
why?
Tims, yeah.
Like everything they did.
It's the Isle of Tim.
Was a big question. Like, why is it the Isle of Tim? Why do the characters look like brat stalls?
Why not the Isle of Steve?
Yeah,
should be Steve.
Could it be the Isle of Steve's? I mean, maybe I still wouldn't play it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the power-ups were just nonsensically bad. Like, all of them. Yeah. There wasn't one. I was like, I'm a tornado wolf. All right.
Mm-hmm. There's no throw line.
They always felt a little limited every time.
Exactly. There's no baseline set of any game where all the buttons do the same thing is not a good game.
Oh, I was pushing all the buttons and I'm like, wait a second, everything jumps? What's up with that? And then I get to them, it's like, oh no, this is just too simple for its own good.
Right.
Like there's no impressive part of that. And the other thing that I've noted is like, what's the point of having these costumes behind keys when the keys are always 6 inches away?
Yeah.
Right. And you can also just keep collecting the same key over and over again. And I didn't get far enough to see if there's a point, if that's intentional, but it seemed like weird that you could just keep collecting the same key repeatedly and it would add to your stock of keys.
Well, you get hit once and then you lose your costume. So then you have to go back and get a new key and then unlock the costume. Because I was like,
that's why then. Okay.
But it was just such a weird system. And then I thought, like, when I found, what is the hat dude's name? Is he Balan?
Yeah, he's Balan.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you find him, those sections are trash. Like,
yeah, they are.
They're like
the quick time events.
Yeah.
They were not
like, what?
good.
I was thinking like, oh, this is the Knights moment where I get to play as Balan. And
Wouldn't that be cool if you could actually play like a Knights section instead of just like, I'm going to show off with this quick time event, and if you get all excellence, here's another statue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was nothing like my 5-year-old looked at this game and he's like, this doesn't look good at all. I was like, so you called it baby's first platformer, but even my baby in terms of gaming was like, I'm not playing this.
Imposter says in the chat that it was 100% meant for mobile devices originally, considering there's only one input. And I could see that. I could see this being a mobile game that they're charging $60 for on consoles.
And it would work better, honestly.
Mm-hmm. It would make
it probably would.
You'd be a lot more forgiving.
Yeah. Dennis J asks a question I was when I was playing, which was, why are all the animals dancing and they disappear when you get close? That is the weirdest thing, right? They just disappear, and there's no... Yep.
There was one time you get a checkpoint and all of them are around, and I happen to have a thing that I could attack, and I attacked them and they just all disappeared like on their own. They ran off. I'm like, oh, okay. But why is there just random animals hanging around? Like, it seems odd that we don't have context for a lot of this stuff. Like, why are we involved with this farmer? In fact, okay, I know they didn't have any voice acting or anything like that with Knights, and you kind of had to interpret, but I had a better idea of exactly what the protagonist's deal were in Knights. Here, I'm like, kid's really good at dancing, and all of a sudden has self-confidence issues and leaves. And the girl's even worse because all the maids in her house are talking about her, and she leaves.
We don't know why. I played as the girl, and I'm like, why are these maids talking about you? Why are you just not confronting them? What is your issue? I feel like I've got like the beginning of a story, but or like chapter 2 of a story, but not chapter 1, and then everything else after that's missing too. It's really weird.
See, I think the thing that's missing here, and I think this is a great cautionary tale of what happens when you give people just unchecked power. Like, Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima are a great pair. They designed Sonic the Hedgehog, but they also had direction from the higher ups at Sega being like, we want a million seller, something to combat Mario. That's the narrow path you need to go down. And I feel that Yuji Naka could benefit from a little bit more of that. Just say, here's what we want
Sonic
you to
was
build.
Also one button, but it worked for the 2D platformer.
Yeah.
For a 3D platformer, like Sonic felt built better around that concept. And going into 3D, none of the powers are interesting. And I only played through the 2 levels because I was trying to do my comparison thing, and I wasn't playing a third time, so I was like, I'm done. But I heard, I'm sure all of you saw that Twitter post about the Fox box, where you just randomly turn into a box and you carry momentum and you can fall off the edge.
No, I hadn't heard about that yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, there's apparently a power-up called the Fox Box, and whenever you're the Fox, you'll randomly turn into a box, and you'll keep your momentum. And so somebody was doing this, and they posted on Twitter where they just kept that momentum and slid right off the edge.
Wow.
Jim and I... Oh, go ahead, Derek.
And the other thing is just, there's no challenge. Like,
None.
In the 2
whatsoever.
levels that we played, and that I played, I should say, there was... I believe 7 enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I didn't know
6
that
normal
you
enemies
lose
and
keys.
1 mini boss.
That's why I didn't know that you lose keys when you get hit, because for the short time I played, I didn't get hit. And I'm sure I will when I go back and play the whole thing. I actually fell asleep fairly quickly into it, not because it was that bad, but because I'm still in my post-Cyber Shadow review lack of sleep, and that's why I look like crap today. I apologize, everybody. So I just kind of fell asleep. So I do intend to go back, and maybe I'll record it, like record a playthrough for the channel, because here's the weird thing about this is, as janky as it is, because of what it's trying so hard to be and what it reminds me of, that late 90s Saturn era charm, I kind of want to play it anyway, even though there's absolutely no... there's no there. It's such an empty game, but the visuals and the music are
It's an
so
interesting
Saturn
world.
era.
It has good music. The cutscenes are gorgeous. Like that Balan cutscene is basically a 3D Never Had a Friend Like Me.
Yeah,
there is some really good trippy visuals.
Very strong Aladdin vibes in that opening cutscene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That said,
speaking of that,
I don't play
ahead,
Monster Hunter Rise. That's going to be all Brandon. I still want to review this game if I can.
Yeah,
that's true. There you go, man. Gemini says, Balan makes me so uncomfortable, lol. Why does he literally kidnap you at the beginning? Yeah, that's the thing. Why does any of this happen?
You gotta find your missing heart.
Apparently.
Missing piece of your heart.
But we don't even know what that is. There's no context for this.
I'm hoping because it's a demo, that's why there's no context, but I kind of doubt it.
Right.
Was Knights any better? Answer that question real quick.
Yes.
Was Knights any better from a narrative perspective at the very beginning of the game?
I think I do think it's a little better. You get,
you have the nightmare elements, and you can kind of get into the fears of them. Plus, it also has the benefit of the fact that it comes with a manual where it goes over much more of this detail.
Well, right.
Back in the day, you read the manual.
That's my point. Is that as a game, it feels like their design sensibilities haven't evolved whatsoever since 1995, 6. And
I would say that with Knights, yes, their motivations. Excuse me, Elliot and Claire. I think it's Elliot. Their motivations are paper thin. Definitely, I get that, but they're still there. Like, you still know, even if it's a paper thin plot, you know why these kids are suffering. You know why they are having to contend with their nightmares.
You don't know why you're becoming knights. You're just sort of like, oh, it's a video game. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
But it also has like a totally awesome moment where, the kids lose the ability to become knights in that final stage. And all of a sudden they're flying on their own. And it's like, there's a nice triumphant feel to the whole thing.
The one thing I want to point out, though, for its time, Knights was a very beautiful game. Balan Wonderworld is ugly as sin. It is an ugly-ass game.
Yeah, you guys played on PS5.
Yeah, I played PS5, and it looked like a bad early-gen PS4 game to me. Blades of grass popping in environments that were utterly lacking in detail. I would have said that this looked good for a mid-tier Switch game on the PS5. I can't imagine how it looks on Switch. I'm not sure I want to know.
On Switch, it's definitely, it is jaggy as all get out, and it takes longer for that grass to load.
I mean, I'm not so sure that it's... I feel like even higher grade PS3 games look better. I'm thinking back to the original Last of Us, that looks way better than this game does.
That's true.
So it's really weird. But it's also unfortunate because it's clear there's a lot of budget put into this game. That opening cutscene's beautiful. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. I feel like I'm at a Cirque du Soleil show. This is pretty neat. Balan kind of creeps me out, and he's not charming like Knights. But, this is pretty cool. And then the game hits, and it's just like, whoa, where did they prioritize this budget?
Yeah. Well, we could probably talk about this even longer, but we should probably actually get to the news.
I do want to mention one thing, and that is that I played 2 demos. Balan and I played East 9, and I won't spend time on this, but I'll just say that it feels exactly like what I was worried it would be in the trailers. You guys know I loved East 8. This feels like East 8, but without the super cool, super colorful deserted island setting. And
so not a good week
they
for demos.
take... No, I mean, they take that setting, and it's now just all these really drab interiors with very little to inspire them. They're not memorable. I don't know. East 9 just feels like East 8 without the personality. So, I don't know. Hopefully it's just a demo talking, but I'm a little concerned about that. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our first news story of the day, which is unfortunately a downer, but it's important that we talk about it.
Mm-hmm. And here we are.
All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and read our tweet from Capcom Dev 1 here, which says, we here at Capcom R&D 1 are deeply saddened to hear about the passing of Jeanette Maus, the talented actress who helped bring several different characters, including our witches, to the world in Resident Evil Village. Our hearts go out to her family and loved ones. So yes, the actress who played the witches in Resident Evil Village has sadly passed away. I don't know if we know exactly of what or how, but that's not important. The important thing is that... her family and friends are able to grieve during this time, and it's really sad to hear. So, of course, our hearts go out to her family and friends as well.
Man.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know where it came from. I don't think I've ever heard of her before.
Me neither.
Yeah, so according to
still
the chat,
I think she was 39. Yeah, she was 39.
Multiple folks are saying it was cancer, and that is
it was cancer.
Awful.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and 39, that's a year older than me, which is not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you think about that, when you hear about people passing away that are just a little bit older than you are, it's definitely a sobering, like, oh man, moment.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at her IMDb page, and she actually was mainly a TV and short film actress. Nothing I've personally watched myself, but she did Resident Evil was actually her first like video game thing. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's just sad that it happened.
Tragic.
And like, I'll be honest, those witches that she's playing, they seem like they're going to be pretty iconic. Like, you're not going to forget these things.
I mean, I know that when I played the Maiden demo, when one of the witches gets in your face, it scared the hell out of me. It was definitely a jumpy moment. And
Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, clearly she did great work in Resident Evil Village, and this is just horrifically sad. I mean, cancer is just I've dealt with it in my own family, and so many of us have dealt with it in their in other families, and it's just awful. It took her way too soon, and it's just a really really sad thing to and again, like, we're all in our 30s. She wasn't that much older than we are, and so it's a sobering reminder that nothing is guaranteed.
Annual checkups, folks. Go to your doctor often, even if you don't think anything's wrong. Exactly.
Yep. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next story, which unfortunately is also kind of a downer, in a much different context.
It's been one of those weeks.
Serious a context, but let's go ahead and move on to our next story. And that is that Roger Craig Smith, the voice of the beloved voice of Sonic the Hedgehog for 10 years, is leaving the role. And he says in his tweet, "Onward to new zones. Much love to the fans who've been so kind. It's been an honor." And there's been a lot of speculation about what's going on here, if he just decided to walk away, if he was fired or replaced. And there's we're going to talk about this later on in the show too, but there's a lot going on at Sega. And Tara Strong, a fellow voice actress who I also know as well through my dad, weighed in on this, and she says, "Garbage. So sick of insanely talented legacy voice artists collaboratively creating massive character success being so easily replaced." So to hear Tara tell it.
This is a hard. Yeah. She's felt this before, where she has legacy characters, and then they're taken away for certain things. I think she was similarly upset about the whole Powerpuff Girls not using the original voice actors.
Yeah, Ash, I'm with the folks in the chat. What's the larger story at Sega? Because I don't think all of us are informed on that.
Go ahead.
So the basic idea, because I don't think we have have it in the news topics here, just because there's
for some reason I thought we did. I guess we don't.
No, we don't. Basically, there's some restructuring going on over at Sega, where they're sort of consolidating a lot of things, and it's making it seem like they're prepping for. It's rumored to seem like it's prepping for some sort of buyout. That's a major rumor going on right now. So it's split I'm just looking up the article now. It's split its amusement and video game divisions.
Interesting.
And that'll be taking place effective April 1st. So both of these new businesses will remain under the ownership of Sega Sammy, and the move is intended to accelerate global business development by streamlining Sega Sammy's structure and accelerate decision-making. It's also noted that the split is intended to transform Sega's business structure to adapt to the external environment. I do not know what that means, but basically it comes across as tidying things up behind the scenes. And in the process, they also triggered speculation of Sega's bosses making sure any potential purchase of Sega could go ahead as smoothly as possible. Now, I'm not one to believe this, because Konami basically said the same thing, where they're restructuring and getting things set up. And of course, people are like, they're going to be bought and sold off their games division and all that stuff as well. What a lot of people don't realize is Konami makes bank in Japan between pachinko and their mobile games, Yu-Gi-Oh. They make tons of money. They probably they make less money off a AAA game than what they're doing now. So yeah, I it's hard to say, but it does lean to the idea that Sega's doing some sort of massive change up over there.
Interesting.
And there's actually more to this as far as the next topic, which let's kind of tie into this as well. But go ahead, Ash.
Well, and not only that, we do kind of touch on this later in the show too, with the future news story discussing Toshihiro Nagoshi, which I kind of took to be part of all this anyway, because it seems like there are a lot of high profile switch-ups happening at Sega. But with that said, I think like you said, Derek, we can go ahead and wrap the next news story into this. So let's go ahead and get that on screen.
Yeah, I think it was already supposed to be one big thing anyway.
Yeah, so. It was.
Oh, okay, great. then yeah. So Sonic writers, or former apparently Sonic writers, Ken Pontac and Warren Graff have now suggested also that they're no longer going to be writing Sonic games. So it isn't just Roger Craig Smith, and as we find out later, it's not even just Sonic personalities over at Sega. But yeah, so they suggest about 48 minutes into an interview that they had a good run, and meaning a good run writing Sonic games, and they don't ever outright say they're done, but that's kind of what the assumption is, that it sounds like they are. So Sega's, even if they're not, being bought and going to be acquired, we don't know that for sure, obviously. And I agree with you, Derek. I tend to believe that maybe it's not going that far. But there's clearly something big happening over at Sega in terms of shakeups, and especially where Sonic is concerned.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting sign that they're splitting off their amusement division from their video games division. I don't think so. If I remember correctly, and I haven't kept up on Sega financials for a while now, but I know that for them, at least in Japan, Phantasy Star Online 2 has really kept them afloat on the Japanese side for years now, 8 years. So I don't know that I have a feeling that the games division is doing good, but I think we reported this on TNT earlier last year, was that Sega closed down a ton of their game centers in Japan. Yeah. So that amusement division isn't doing so hot. So
COVID probably is not helping.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure COVID isn't helping, especially since Japan just went into a new lockdown But they might be looking to offload that amusement division, which would be sad, especially since I've never been to Japan and never been to a Sega Game Center. I've only seen them vicariously through the Yakuza series, but I can only... Sega got their start in arcades, so that would be really interesting for them to get rid of that huge piece of their history. I truly hope, though, that they're not purchased by anybody, because I feel like if the games division was purchased, it would be Microsoft. Sega is really cozy with them, and I do not want that. If they have to get purchased by someone, please, please, please make it Nintendo. If Nintendo owned Sonic and Mario... Oh my god.
That would be hype as hell.
That'd be insane. Yeah. That said, Nintendo also wouldn't use Sega's backlog of franchises.
Yeah, it's true, but you know what? If I could get a Sonic game, a Sonic platformer made by Nintendo EAD,
can you imagine?
I would give my everything for that.
Yeah. I don't know if Nintendo's the best choice for Sega, honestly, just because they have their PC division and stuff like that. I don't know if it actually works. But
yeah, because you have to think about there's also
honestly, I think
Atlas that you have to worry about, and
I feel like Capcom might be a better choice.
Oh, I would definitely, ideally, I just don't want Sega's IPs locked to one platform. That's really the ideal outcome for me. As long as they're free to publish where they want still, then I'll be happy. But if they had to be locked to a platform, I'd prefer it to be a Nintendo platform.
Same. Right. But now I'm thinking about this potential, or not potential, but this idea of Capcom buying Sega. That could lead to an actual, honest to God, Mega Man and Sonic crossover platforming game, which would be the hypest shit ever.
Well, here's the thing, and I know. We don't know. I've seen people talk about Roger Craig Smith's time as Sonic and how he did a really great job with the character, even though the writing wasn't always up to snuff. And the entire time he was as Sonic, it was Pontac and Graff doing the writing. I don't know how much final say they had with the scripts, because the strange choices for forces, and I kind of doubt the same guys who wrote Colors did these, but did that game, but. It's an interesting commentary on that, and what a lot of people were hoping for is that I'm blanking on his name. The guy who wrote writes the IDW Sonic comic.
Ian Flynn.
Ian Flynn.
No, he did. Is that IDW? Yeah, IDW.
Yeah, he does IDW. Okay. He was doing
Archie
as well, but he went over to IDW as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ian Flynn writing Sonic. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be interesting to see him taking on that the game side of things as far as plots, because we know he can write a damn good plot.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on the IDW comics, because I hear they're excellent, as C. Wing Sun says.
Ian Flynn's a great writer in general, and just a great video game comic writer, period. And he did an amazing job in Sonic.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do want to bring up something else, because I want to mention this because my friend put in a ton of work on this, and many of you might even know him. This is Gareth from Find the Computer Room, and we text every so often, and he actually did this whole thing for going over the voice actors for Sonic over the years and what they've done and how long they've lasted. Wow. So first up, of course, was Jaleel White from 1993 till 1999, where he did Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sat AM, Sonic Underground, and apparently even something called Sonic Xmas Blast. What the hell?
Okay, never heard of that. Sonic Underground it wasn't good, but it was fantastic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then Martin Burke was the voice actor for Sonic during the Sonic OVA.
Okay.
So that was well known. Video game wise, of course, is Ryan Drummond, who took over with Sonic Adventure and voiced the character from 1999 until 2004. But in 2003, that's when Jason Griffith took over from 2003 to 2010, of course, doing the Sonic X stuff and all the games we know from basically Shadow the Hedgehog until Sonic Unleashed. Mm-hmm. Roger Craig Smith was the one who voiced him the longest for those 10 years. covering just the main series, the spin-offs, the Booms games, the little shorts. He voiced him in Wreck-It Ralph. He was Sonic for that entire time. And he actually, according to Gareth, he crossed over into every aspect of Sonic media that requires voice acting, whether it's the games, the animation, the movies, online videos, commercials, toys, whatever. He has the most main canon games and has the largest episode count of any single Sonic cartoon at 104 with Sonic Boom, which I didn't realize I had that many episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, me neither.
It's pretty crazy for him. And what he thinks is very possible is that Ben Schwartz might be our new Sonic.
I was wondering.
Just to have that synergy between the Sonic movie and this. And Ben Schwartz, Hollywood voice actor, but I'm reminded of another actor that was on DuckTales is Larry. I work on DuckTales. They're not exactly paid, it's not exactly high amount. So it's possible that Ben Schwartz might be the one to voice Sonic going forward to have that synergy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say, I cannot think of Ben Schwartz without imagining John Ralphio from Parks and Rec. And that is...
I've not seen Parks and Rec.
Oh my God. Once you see the character John Ralphio in Parks and Rec, you'll never be able to imagine Sonic not being a douchebag. I'm just saying.
Oh God,
that's fun. I mean, Sonic kind of already is a douchebag, but that's what makes him so lovable. Is he's kind of yeah. This if that is what they're doing, this is something that hits close to home for me that I just really don't like. My dad being who he is, and obviously a very successful voice actor. He has lost. He's been, and he wouldn't complain. He's had an incredibly successful career, but he's lost quite a few roles to less talented actual voice actors because they're Hollywood stars. And I'm not saying Ben Schwartz isn't fantastically talented. He is a great actor. He was great in the Sonic movie, not calling that into question. But I just don't like it when talented voice actors are replaced just so you can have a big Hollywood name in your credits. That drives me crazy. And if that's what's happening here, I get it from Sega's perspective, I guess, but it's so...
Is
gross.
Ben Schwartz that big of a name, though? I don't even think he was listed on the thing. It was Jim Carrey and, what's his name? The other human that was mainly listed.
Ben James Schwartz was kind of Marsden.
James Marsden, that's it. He was mainly an Also Ran. So I think Ben Schwartz might be just doing that transition a bit into voice acting and just comedy. So, Ben was listed Rob Arman X? Okay.
I thought he was. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember seeing you on the poster. Yeah. I guess that's what I'm basing it more on. But yeah, right, I don't know. Right. I don't know how it all goes. I know this has made people wonder, is there going to be just an entire switch up with the cast like we had before with Sonic Colors? And of course, that immediately brings up the pitchforks of don't you dare touch Eggman.
Oh, I know. Seriously. And I just want to point out that
no one can touch Mike Pollock.
Exactly. Please don't touch. Yeah, exactly. And I just want to point out, obviously, Twitter followers aren't, the sole metric of somebody's popularity or celebrity. But Ben Schwartz has 1.2 million followers on Twitter, while Roger Craig Smith has 100,000. So Ben Schwartz has 10 times as many, basically. And
right.
So that could be what's happening here. And again, I don't want to call Ben Schwartz's obvious talent into question. He's a great actor, but Roger Craig Smith is Sonic. He has been Sonic in everything except the movie for a decade. And it's just, if that's why he's being, I do believe Tara Strong when she says that he's been replaced. I know Tara. She's an amazing person. I know her through my dad, and we've chatted. She wouldn't say something like that without having good cause to do so. I don't think she's just trying to stir the pot. If she said that, I believe that he's been replaced. And that sucks. It sucks.
So how about those other stories we got?
Yes. Let's go ahead.
We'll get back to the Sega stuff soon enough.
Yeah, we are talking about this a little bit more later in the show, as I mentioned. But for now, let's go ahead and turn our attention to Activision Blizzard. We have an update on.
I think you missed the topic, Ash.
Oh, did I? Oh, I have it in the wrong order on my screen. My bad. So actually, we're talking about Nintendo. This is actually really cool. So
yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so a Nintendo company book from 2007, way back during the before times, has revealed a bunch of potential Wii logos that we could have gotten other than the one we actually did. And this is just so cool, I think. Like, there are so many designs here that are just, like, they completely run counter to what the Wii's brand identity ended up being, right? But it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this era for Nintendo was when they were definitely trying to emulate Apple and what Apple was doing, like, you know, white on gray, similar iconography in their branding, stuff like that. So to see that they went through all these permutations of the logo, many of which are not even close to what we got, is interesting. I particularly like the one in the lower right because all I can see is someone crying.
Cry about it, gamers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny how a lot of them are so similar to what we ended up getting, and it's basically just Nintendo playing with fonts, trying to figure out what kind of stands out. And some of them come across as really confusing. Like, some of them look like more WM than Wii.
Yeah. The one that is highlighted in the lower left of the tweet, like with the misspelled beginning, like beginning new era. Like, I would fully expect to see that on like a Hong Kong knockoff console box.
Right.
Yeah.
What also does the bullseye even mean on it?
There's also one that basically kind of looks like a smile, like it's almost like the Rebel Alliance symbol from Star Wars.
Yeah,
and it has two little eyes, like a tooth. Like, it's this one tooth smile. Like, it's like what's his name from Luigi's Mansion? Egad.
Egad?
Yeah, Egad. Egad's tooth. It's so weird.
Yeah, you know.
Well,
I was gonna say, it's really funny how they iterated on this, and honestly, we all made fun of the name Wii back in 2007, or whenever it launched. We all made fun of it. We're like, what a dumb name. But looking at all the options they went through, I really think Nintendo nailed it. They got it.
Yeah.
It's unique, doesn't stand out too much. It isn't weird. It isn't. Some of these are really aggressive, like Derek pointed out. I think they got the perfect approach of like casual without looking too baby, like something that isn't embarrassing for an adult to own. And I think that was the first time Nintendo really gave one of their products that kind of consideration. Well, maybe the DS, but yeah, I would say that this is I miss this era of Nintendo. I miss how they're they've kind of replicated that with the Switch.
They have a fun thing with
I feel like the
Switch
Switch
logo.
I feel like the Switch is actually
that
quite
snap
sleek.
is iconic at this point.
The Switch logo is really bold and stands out, and it definitely doesn't feel like something for children. So I guess, they've carried that on somewhat.
Some of these logos are wild because they don't even look, they're not even readable as Wii. So, like, there's one in the middle of if you click the top right image of the tweet, there's one like in the top middle that looks like the Rebel Alliance logo from Star Wars. You can barely see the two little eyes.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, that Egad's teeth.
Oh, okay, I didn't even see it from that perspective. Now I see his teeth. That's so funny.
Yeah.
We're looking at the same one.
It's like a smile,
if you go down, yeah, and if you go down 3 from that, we have what looks like 2 upside-down triangles and 2 right-side-up triangles. That doesn't look like anything except triangles. Like,
I know.
Some of these are really, really, really esoteric.
There's one on here on the right side of the lineup of the logo, all the logos. Basically, it looks like the M&M's M upside down.
Yeah.
for it. And then at the top, honestly, that could have almost been the Wii U logo. Because I actually really like that as a Wii U logo. If you go to the very top row, let's go. It's the 6th one from the top, from the left. Okay. It has that sort of that W and then the cursive into the 2 eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That looks like Wii U to me, and that's actually kind of cool for Wii U.
Yeah, I see what you mean. God, this is just so interesting. Like, it's a fun window into how different the Wii era could have been in terms of its branding and just its whole vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when you think about it, this likely would have informed other aspects of the console's design, like the UI, the user interface would have looked different.
Oh yeah,
because they would have designed it around the aesthetic of this logo, right? We got a very minimalist white and gray vibe off of the final Wii UI, but it would have been I mean, imagine if it was bright orange, or any of these other options they went with. It would have looked insane. I don't know. I like what we got. I love looking into these kind of discarded ideas of the past, though.
Same.
And logo iteration, like you guys mentioned, someone mentioned in the chat, logo iteration is super normal. I mean, our logo for GVG and the logo you're looking at on TNT have been through multiple versions.
Oh, yeah, and we're small scale, so imagine something as the size of Nintendo trying to come up with that thing.
Yeah, you've probably got dozens of people workshopping ideas. Like, some of these have, like, I noticed one of the recurring themes throughout some of these discarded concepts is there's just a square floating around in some of these, like under the W, at the end of the word we. I wonder if there was some significance to squares at some point with this, because I see a lot of those discard logos have them in odd places.
Another thing I noticed a lot is turning the eyes into people holding hands or being together. That's a very common.
That one makes sense to me. The Wii was very much marketed as something that everyone in the house should be playing. Not that mine was ever used like that. My Wii was mine.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
I played with my family on occasion, but I do like the Wii logo that has like the infinity symbol for the eye dots.
Yeah,
that's fun. That really reminds me of the Revolution, honestly, when it was going by that code name.
Oh yeah! Oh god, I remember that. I remember back when, back in the
everybody was all
days.
Like, it needs to be called the Revolution.
Yeah, I love this.
That was for a while. It was the Nintendo Revolution.
Imposter in the chat. The square is a GameCube, since the Wii is just two GameCubes duct taped together. Well played.
Love it. Yeah. Speaking of the chat, I want to give a shout out to the Amazing Blazin, who says, "Hi, longtime listener, first time live viewer. Glad to be here, and thank you for always spreading such good vibes. Thank you for joining us, man. We're glad to have you here."
Yeah, I think also this is the first time the Heldrick in chat has been in the chat.
This is the Heldrick's second time.
Sorry about that.
They popped in for the last episode, and they are all the way from Germany, I believe. So
that's right. That's right.
I hope you're.
They were saying only popping in like once a month. So my God.
Also, I mentioned something they said in the chat earlier, but Gemini, Jimini, welcome to you. Don't think I've seen your name in the chat before, but it's great to have you here nonetheless, and thank you for joining us. And I love your name, by the way. That's super cool.
That's clever.
Oh, yeah. I love this. Evernight Studio says Hendrik, the Knight of Heliodor, is in chat. That's so good. Oh, so awesome. Good. That just makes me want to go play DQ11 again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shall we move on to now? We finally will actually talk about Activision.
All right.
Just a little bit.
All right, just a little bit. So on Wednesday, we reported on Activision essentially complaining that they had to hire, that they were essentially being forced to hire minority candidates for job positions at Activision. Basically saying it's not fair. It's not fair to us. It's not tenable. It's too hard to have to be expected to interview minority candidates for jobs. Well, they have now issued a follow-up statement to that. And it basically reads like so much PR speak, but they have said it does. I'll just a snippet from a statement by Activision President and COO Daniel Allegre. He says Vice completely mischaracterized the outlet, of course. Vice completely mischaracterized the SEC filing made by our outside attorneys. In fact, our hiring practices are rooted in ensuring diversity for all roles. Blah 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 blah. So basically, they're saying we're not at fault. We embrace diversity. Vice mischaracterized.
We aggressively recruit diverse candidates.
Listen, there's so much bullshit in this statement.
Yeah,
first off, I love this subtle shifting of blame. Our outside attorneys, as in not the ones that work for us. These guys don't work for us, but also Vice is lying to you. Like, just shut up. You have a bad, icky, nasty response to something. And you paid these people, so they're working for you. So you hired bad, nasty, icky people to make bad, nasty, icky statements for you. Just suck it up, Buttercup. You did a bad, dumb thing. Apologize. That's it. Just we're
and not only that, but they took this, or Daniel Allegre took this as an opportunity to just boast about Activision. This should be about the issue at hand, about not hiring minority candidates or about complaining about having to. But in the second part of his statement, he says, "Our games have uniquely influenced popular culture and have helped to increase tolerance and inclusion through their connectivity, as well as the heroes we portray and our stories that celebrate diversity, equity, and inclusion."
Those
in so
Call
many
of Duty
ways.
heroes.
Yeah, all those Call of Duty heroes, right? Like, what? Come on. Like, don't make this. I mean, yes, that's good PR, right? Make it about you. Take any negative attention, and use it to bolster your brand.
Yeah.
I get that that's what you're supposed to do. God, this is such bullshit, though. Yeah.
Yeah, Blizzard handles it pretty well thanks to Overwatch, but Activision.
Well, they were handling it until Overwatch is a good look for them, but then of course their whole anti-democracy, Hong Kong democracy nonsense didn't. Yeah, that kind of just tanked their whole image.
Oh God!
Right. So Activision Blizzard really can't get it together on the public-facing front here.
Not really.
There's not a lot to say about this. It's just
it's just more of a follow-up.
Yeah,
it's a follow-up, and it's Activision just trying to save face, which that's what they got to do. That's business 101, right?
Yep.
PR 101. But all right, well, let's go ahead and move on to our next story, which kind of brings things back around to Sega, like I was talking about earlier, about some major shakeups going on there. And this one pertains to someone who isn't involved directly with Sonic. It's Toshihiro Nagoshi, who is the general director of Ryoga Gotoku Studio, a.k.a. the Yakuza developers, who is stepping down as Sega's chief creative officer to take the position of creative director. Now, I don't want to say that sounds like a demotion, because creative director is still really cool, but CCO to creative director does kind of sound like a step down. And it just, again, makes me wonder what's going on here at Sega. Again, I'm not saying they're getting bought out, but there's a lot of shakeups going on here, you guys, and I'm just wondering what it's all about.
Well, I have to wonder because RGG Studio is wildly successful. I mean,
exactly.
Yakuza Like a Dragon is wildly successful. And they have to be bringing someone in to fill that C-suite role. There's a lot of smoke at Sega right now, and I don't know what to make of it because, again, I truly don't believe that they're going to sell off their games division. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah,
they're doing too well. It doesn't make sense. But maybe it's hard to say because I never know what Sega's thinking. I can't understand any of the moves they make.
Who can, right? Who could possibly?
So maybe they're trying to de-emphasize the importance of the Yakuza series, but that doesn't make sense because it's one of their best series. But
then again, this is Sega, so often what seems like it makes sense, they'll go and do the opposite.
Yeah.
So,
Jared Ediger in the chat says it sounds like he'd be going more hands-on this way. So,
right. I was about to say maybe he wants to focus less on the business of running a company and more on the business of creating games. Because, Ash, you and I have interviewed Toshihiro Nagoshi at E3 before. Toshihiro Nagoshi. And he was very, very approachable. I never would have guessed he was a C-level executive at Sega at the time that we interviewed him. I didn't know that. Yeah. I just knew he was the guy in charge of Yakuza, and I was like, oh man, he's really cool, very down to earth. I had no idea that we were interviewing like a top executive at the company at the time. He seems very hands-on with the series, so maybe he just wants to get away from the distractions that that come with being at such a high post, right? That's the optimist in me speaking.
Yeah, it may not be. I mean, I certainly don't think it's punitive or anything. Obviously, this man's success speaks for himself, and there just may be something going on at Sega that's bigger than him. But even if title-wise it sounds like a step down, this may actually allow him to be thrust into a more creative, hands-on role that he might prefer anyway. In which case, it's a step up. So it really is just all depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, Yakuza will likely continue to be great.
Exactly. Eddie Beale says Phil Spencer is looking to become head of the Toja clan.
Oh, gosh. Cloud and Collected, he could actually work on Sonic this way. That is true.
Right.
Microphone has a question, probably directed. It seems to be directed at you, Steve, because it says, did you think Bethesda would have been bought before it happened? Good point.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
I mean...
I will be the first to admit that the Bethesda acquisition surprised me. I mean, if you look, because it's really hard to look at a company that's had one real bad game and be like, oh yeah, they're getting bought. And I'm speaking, of course, about Fallout 76. That was a hot turd of a game, but I never would have expected the Skyrim guys needed money.
Yeah,
right. Right.
So I kind of figure like, oh, they can have a real bad game and it'll be fine. It just speaks to, if I remember correctly, that was a ludicrous sum that Bethesda was acquired for, though. I mean, wasn't it?
It was huge.
Yeah, it was. I just remember it being a massive number. I'm not even going to pretend to know. Somewhere in the hundreds of billions or so. Oh, 7 billion. I don't know.
Yeah, man. There you go. 7.5 billion.
That's still a lot of money, man. That is enough to buy everyone in this audience a house and a Ferrari and have billions left over. So
yeah, and remember the last time on TNT we did note that Microsoft banked 15 billion. So they got pockets.
Yeah.
They got deep pockets.
Yeah. So
right.
I guess it makes sense. I guess, anything's a target when you have that kind of money, right? Mm. You could paint a target on anyone for $7 billion. You want to buy me personally, I'll sell myself to you for $7 billion. I will make your waffles every day.
Make your waffles.
Yeah.
But, the world of corporate acquisitions is a mystery to me. Anybody could be bought tomorrow, and I probably wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Well, shall we move on to our next story of the day?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, we've got a ton of news coming in on the Tomb Raider front. This, of course, is going to be the series' 25th anniversary pretty soon. And so Crystal Dynamics has kind of come out and talked about what they've got in store. And at the top of we were actually going to report on this a couple days ago, but we just kind of got pushed away for other news stories. But first off, Netflix is developing a Tomb Raider anime, which could be pretty cool. I originally would have thought the Castlevania anime sounded like a joke too, and then it came out and it was awesome. So yeah. I'm keeping my my expectations high for this, hopefully. But what's more interesting is that Crystal Dynamics is working, quote-unquote, working to unify the timelines of the original Tomb Raider games with the more recent reboot trilogy. And this comes from an IGN article, and I'm just going to go ahead and just read this paragraph here because it's pretty telling. While the reboot trilogy told the origin story of Lara Croft becoming the Tomb Raider, the original games, quote-unquote, featured a seasoned and confident adventurer, said game director Will Kerslake. The development team envisions, quote, and I quote, a future of Tomb Raider unfolding after these established adventures, telling stories that build upon the breadth of both core designs and Crystal Dynamics' games, working to unify these timelines. So, interesting. They definitely seem to have a coalesced collective view of what they want Tomb Raider to be in the next stage of its existence, right?
Yeah. And the anime that they're making apparently also takes place after Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So.
Right. So it's interesting because, obviously anybody who's played the Tomb Raider games knows how wildly different in tone and presentation the original core design games are from the reboot trilogy. The reboot trilogy is a lot more realistic and gritty. Realistic. But, it's a lot grittier. Lara's own character design is a lot more realistic in terms of what women actually look like. So I'm curious to see how they're going to unify these two timelines. Because even aside from Lara's physical design in the original games, I feel like the presentation was a lot lighter in tone.
Tongue-in-cheek.
A little bit more, a little more tongue-in-cheek, a little bit more swashbuckling, Uncharted-esque. It wasn't quite as dark and moody as the reboot trilogy. So I'm curious to see where they're going with this.
I have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I've not played it because I loved the Tomb Raider reboot and really enjoyed Rise of the Tomb Raider, though I don't think its story was as memorable as the first one. I thought the gameplay was definitely better in Rise, but the story didn't really hook me as much, and I just haven't gotten around to Shadow of the Tomb Raider yet. I am interested in it.
It's the same story. I previewed it for Game Explain, and it's basically the same story as Rise compared to the original. The gameplay continues to evolve, and it's great, but the story is just... Actually, Rise had a perfectly fine story, I thought. The story in Shadow is just... terrible. It's garbage.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Is she at least
it's really bad.
Does she have her confidence by the end? Because that's one thing that always kind of stuck to me is that she never kind of got that confident.
She definitely the character of Lara herself is done well. Yeah, she's more confident, but some of the actions she takes in the story of Shadow are pretty suspect. And there's also this whole thing about the white savior kind of feeling that Shadow the Tomb Raider kind of has, and it's a little weird. But the story surrounding Lara is just nice. So stupid in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. No! It's so no, it's not a good story. Like the villain is uninteresting. Yeah, I don't need to keep going on. But Shadow of the Tomb Raider narratively was a mess, I thought. But the game was fun, so you should play it, Derek.
Yeah, I've played through the first two. Can you still find like if your friends die at a certain portion of the game, can you find like their backpacks or their gear? Because I know that was a thing in Rise of the Tomb Raider, I believe.
Was it?
Was it? I don't remember that aspect.
One of the Tomb Raider reboot games had a feature where if someone on your friends list died in a certain spot, you could find their
friends
backpack.
List. I thought you were talking about like friends in the. I don't know. I don't know. None of my friends really play this. So.
Yeah, that's only memorable to me because I reviewed the first two games in the reboot trilogy. And so I was playing it when very few people were playing it, and I ran across another journalist backpack, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." I didn't realize.
Yeah, nice.
We were practically on pace with each other.
Nice. On top of all this, Crystal Dynamics has said that they have a whole suite of surprises and announcements planned for throughout the year for Tomb Raider's 25th anniversary. So, who knows what that means? But
I don't.
I mean, they also said that. They don't have plans for a major game announcement in the near future, so it's
right. So I don't
probably
think
going to be a while. Although I find it funny here in the IGN makes a note that Laura's latest adventure, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, was released in 2018. IGN Shadow of the Tomb Raider review awarded a 9 out of 10, calling it a powerful finale to Lara Croft's origin trilogy.
Yeah,
apparently they saw something you didn't, Dash.
I disagree with that take entirely. It was a good game for sure, but it was not a powerful. It didn't make me feel anything. If anything, I was just like, "This is it." Story wise, I was like, "This is it. That's the final boss. That's really." So I don't know that I don't. Hey, everyone has their own opinion. I'm not trying to undercut IGN's reviewer, but I disagree with that take entirely.
Gentlemen,
yes.
I am proud to announce that I have a little bit of breaking news.
We love breaking news here.
We've got a brand new member of the EP squad, Flaming Highwayman, coming in brand new at the $25 tier. So welcome aboard if you're in the... I didn't see you in the audience today, but welcome aboard if you're watching, since you obviously have that right as an executive producer. And, man, you're coming in right before the credits. So we will call out that name.
Well timed.
Yeah, there
he
is,
so much.
Flaming Highwayman in the chat. So welcome aboard. We are so glad to have you. Thank you so much for your generous contribution.
Thank you so much.
How many EPs
I feel like we're always
now?
saying thank you.
I think it's 76.
Wow.
So, 76, which is wild.
Y'all are so generous. Yeah. And like we always say, we're glad to read those names. And if you're not an EP, if you are an EP, we appreciate you all the same. Thank you so much for joining, but we value everyone from $1 all the way up to the crazy high tiers. Y'all mean the world to us.
Yes, indeed. And for those of you watching the VOD, we also, even if you're not supporting us on Patreon, if you subscribe and are just here to enjoy our content, we love you for that too. We appreciate all the goodwill.
We just hit 65K. That's incredible.
Wow,
that's amazing.
Yeah, 65,000 subs. We are onward and upward. We appreciate like, subscribe, comment, whatever you do to interact with us. Even if you tell me that I say like a lot, which I did see on one of our videos, and I agree, I do. I'm working on it, but I appreciate it.
Trust me, we know our visual tics. Editing ourselves. We know our vocal tics.
Exactly.
That's true.
I say a lot, so it's
I say a lot. I have a nervous laugh all the time. It's
yeah. No, hey, we all. It's totally cool. We all have our things we got to work on, but no, thank you all so much for your support. And,
you're all awesome.
Yeah.
Well, should we have our final topic, considering getting close to the over the hour already?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and bring up our final topic.
All right.
And this involves Astral Chain, a more recently popular Platinum IP, but it is actually no longer a Platinum IP, or maybe never was, because Platinum has now confirmed that it is Nintendo's IP. After fans have noticed some public-facing copyright changes regarding Astral Chain. So I would say on its face, this doesn't look good for the future of Astral Chain, just because I feel like PlatinumGames probably would have been likelier to want to make Astral Chain 2 than Nintendo will be. Perhaps not, who knows? But I have a feeling that this might mean the IP is not going to be too active going forward. How do you guys feel about this?
It's a shame because everybody talks about it. I mean, I have it, obviously. I just haven't had a chance to play it yet. But everybody I talked to loved it. And once more, because apparently it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of.
That's what I heard that it did.
I don't remember it too vividly. I will say that it is a really fun game, but it was not the type that is super memorable. Like, it didn't blow me away in terms of the narrative of it, but the combat and the action and the visuals for a Switch game are incrable.
I mean, that's kind of Platinum's MO.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Right.
It was like, okay from a story perspective. It worked as a story, but really it was all about the action and just it felt like a really good medium pace between like your typical action game and your faster paced stuff like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. It felt like a good middle ground between those super high octane action games and your run of the mill stuff. It was somewhere in between them. I just absolutely loved how it was paced and how the action felt. I thought that controlling like I don't even remember what they're called anymore, but like your astral characters, right? Like because eventually you could get different ones and change between them. I absolutely thought that would be too much. Like, it would be too distracting to try to manage like a partner character with your main character, but they made it work so well. And it's one of those games that I feel I just need to come back to. Yeah, you basically, as BJ Bovia says, your stand. Like, it felt like
it's
you're playing a JoJo game.
Oh, uh-huh.
So,
yeah,
officially called a Legion.
Thank you.
Right, Legions. So apparently, prior to this, the Astral Chain IP was co-owned by Platinum and Nintendo. And it basically looks like exactly what it is on its face, which is just the IP has transferred ownership to Nintendo alone. Which I do think, that obviously makes it very clear that we're not going to see Astral Chain appear on other platforms. Unless Nintendo decides to divest themselves of the IP, but I kind of doubt they'll do that. Even studio head Atsushi Inaba said, when he was asked if anything should be read into this change, he replied, "It's as it looks." So I think that's pretty much as clear an answer as we're going to get on this. It is what it looks like.
Nintendo did save Bayonetta, so I wouldn't say it's out of the question.
True.
To do that, for them to make a sequel, especially if it's sold that well.
Yeah. Well, thank you, actually, Derek, for that mini segue, because there's a little bit more here than just Astral Chain news. And this all comes from a new interview with Hideki Kamiya and Atsushi Inaba. But we should probably just forget about Bayonetta 3 for now, because we're going to get more news when it's ready, but it's just not ready. And they're basically saying, hey, we're taking our time with it, and just wait. And so it doesn't sound as though it's coming anytime soon. Kamiya basically outright says, just forget about, or suggests that we should forget about Bayo 3 until they're ready to release something. Yeah, and as if that's going to happen, right? There's no way anybody's forgetting about this game.
This falls squarely into the category of games I expected to come sooner, but now I fully expect are like Switch Pro launch titles. Because,
okay, I could see that.
Maybe.
We've seen neither hide nor hair from Bayo 3 or Metroid Prime 4. Both of those are games that I think folks would expect. I think the expectation is there from the pedigree of both of those series that they should be technical showcases to show off what the hardware is capable of. And if Nintendo is truly planning a Switch Pro, and I'm firmly in the column that believes they are,
me too,
they have to have some titles ready to go with the launch of that hardware. Even if it's not like a full-on successor, something that replaces or supplants the Switches we all have now, which, again, I firmly believe it's not going to replace it. They still have to have some games that show off why you want to buy this new hardware. And the only games that we know of that I can think of are Breath of the Wild 2, Bayo 3, and Metroid Prime 4. Those are games that everyone would want to look the best, perform the best, and would really be the types of games that would push people like the three of us here to go out and drop whatever Nintendo's asking on for a new Switch, even if it does just play all the same games better.
I mean, that's why people got a PS5.
Yeah,
right.
That's why we.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's why people are clamoring to get them. That's why Derek had to invest so much of his time to find one.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, there's that lure.
Now, everything we've been talking about so far has been based on a tweet by just bullet points in a tweet by Nibel. But I was looking more into this, and he screen capped a really funny part of this interview with Video Games Chronicle. You saw this, Derek. So, Video Games Chronicle in their interview was asking them about Takahisa Tora's progress as a director in the wake of Astral Chain's success. And I love Inaba's answer here. He says, as far as Platinum is concerned, Tora is the best director at the company. Kamiya is probably the 5th best director at the company currently. He needs to get a game out and work his way back in again. I love it. And he's sitting right next to Kamiya as he says this. I love their relationship.
I think he knows he can get away with that, too.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
The two of them have to get along because whenever I've been offered to interview one or the other, it's always a duo. It's always the two of them at the same time. So they have to be pretty buddy-buddy with each other.
Although that might get Inaba blocked on Twitter. That might be enough.
It might be enough.
That might be, yeah.
I am very curious about because they also went into details thanks to Nibel's bullet points here. Apparently, the next Platinum 4 reveal will bring a smile to fans' faces, and it's smaller in scale.
Right.
And Project GG is still very early in dev.
Those are
they
the
have
other
a
two
lot
things
of
to talk about. Yeah.
projects in the fire, but it's like we don't know when's coming. Like, I almost wonder if they're stretching themselves too thin, but I don't know exactly how big Platinum is.
Right. I was wondering. Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I would say we know too little about Project GG for me to be that interested in it yet, but I'm really curious about this Platinum 4 reveal that'll be smaller in scale and bring a smile to fans' faces. I'm actually really curious as to what that might be.
I wonder if part of how Astral Chain ended up back with Nintendo is if Nintendo just realized at some point that Platinum was too damn busy to make an Astral Chain 2 on the timeline that they would want it made. And they said, hey, we'll buy the IP back from you. We just need a sequel. And y'all won't get it in the time frame that we need it. So maybe they'll do what Nintendo likes to do and farm it out to Bandai Namco or something.
No, jeez. Maybe, but I feel like you wanted to have that Platinum feel to it. Hard to say.
Yeah. Charlie Bird says, calling it now. Bayo 3, Breath of the Wild 2, and Metroid Prime 4 aren't this year. I think that's, other than Breath of the Wild 2, I think it has a chance to make it out this year. Absolutely. I don't think any of us were expecting Prime 4 or Bayo 3 this year. Were you guys?
No. We would have a trailer by now if it was coming this year. That's how I feel.
Exactly. I think Breath of the Wild 2 could possibly sneak out as Nintendo's big holiday release this year, but also could just as likely be spring 2022.
But Zelda, this is also Zelda's 25th, so
they want to have it ready.
Oh, yeah, they want to have it.
Want to. Yeah.
My thought is, at the very latest, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 comes out
2035. Thank you, Azran.
I think at the latest, Breath of the Wild 2 can come out in February because Nintendo likes to stretch these anniversaries into the next year for whatever reason. Like, we're still in the Mario 35th somehow. But I think that they have to get Breath of the Wild 2 out during that 35th anniversary. It's like the linchpin of the whole event. Like Bowser's Fury seems to be the linchpin of Mario 35th, and then it's all over, right? I think that Nintendo probably has a plan similar to that, where Breath of the Wild 2 is like the last thing that they do for this celebration, but where they end it is anybody's guess, because obviously Breath of the Wild 2 would be an ideal November game to get it out before the Christmas rush of sales, possibly bundle a special edition Switch with it so that people pick up new hardware alongside it. I mean, I would. They'd have one sucker right here.
Yeah. I mean, just look at how well Hyrule Warriors did, and that's just a spin-off.
Exactly.
Right.
The one thing I want, I hope more than anything, and it's dumb, but I hope that we get a gold Switch card. I just want a gold Switch card.
That would be cool.
Yeah, give me that and I'll buy 2 copies. I don't care. I have no shame.
What'll happen is Europe will get it, but we won't because we don't have a good track record with getting cool Zelda collector's editions in the U.S.
Editions everywhere else are so much better than ours. We get the gold carts usually, though. Usually.
Sometimes.
That's true.
Gold. Joy-Con.
All right.
I mean, not Joy-Con.
So
Joy-Con. That'd be cool. Either way.
I find my mind drifting back to this smaller Platinum announcement that'll bring a smile to fans' faces. What if, just saying, what if they were able to strike a deal with Capcom for Kamiya to work on a new Okami project? It wouldn't be a AAA game because I don't think they're going to pour that kind of money into it. But what if?
I'm
just saying.
Well, how about, I was wondering, I was actually thinking that same thing, and I wonder if they're going literal with their smaller in scale because he plays Isun.
That'd be interesting. Hey, you know what? I mean, I want Okami, the big Okami 2 or 3, or however you want to categorize it. I want the big sequel. But I'd play an Isun side game, for sure. Like, that explores what happens, between Okami and Okami Den, or explores kind of what happens on the Celestial Plane. I want a sequel so badly.
I hate to push things along.
No.
But
we
are
gotta
cutting
go.
into our post-show time.
Yes. So that is all our news for the day. So let's go ahead and wrap up here. But before we do, I just want to remind everyone, I want to thank our sponsor, Straight Lace, again, and remind everyone watching to go check out their game, The Sol Device, on Steam. That brings us to the end of the news for the day. And as always, thank you so much for all of your support. No matter where you support us on Patreon or if you just support us on YouTube and just like and subscribe, we love you all. With that said, though, we owe an extra special thank you to our patrons at the producer tier for helping to make this show happen, because without you, it would not be happening. And of course, a massive, massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And here we go with this long, long list. It just keeps getting longer every day. And those wonderful people are Rob Arman X, Dan Entwistle, Z Patty, Adam O'Sullivan, Floating Mew, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Kieran Phillips, Rosa Bowling.
Hi, Mom.
Geller.
No wave this time.
Nice. Geller, Shiny Turkey, Titus Malvolio, Jake Pelka, Michael Phone, Mitchell Herring, Game Explain, Charles Zotz, Andrew Medeiros, Jonathan Belmare, Kitty Kong Fax, Patrick Harrison, Scott Barber, Evernight Studio, Rocks the Cat, Loyal Dingo, Azran127, Phantom23, Sean Garrett, Shadow the Cat, Guillaume Monet, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, RMM, Top Dog 23100, West Egg, Master Lynx, Sean Davis, Deaneth, Kota, Lucky Wonderfish, Brandon Bovia, Octopuppet, Charlie Bird, Matthew Wong, Ashish Joshi, Michael McCaw, Eric Flapjack Ashley, Jackson Jordan, Sky Blue Flames, Young Ben Kenobi, Hyrule Hermit, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Hugo J8A, Seth Walker, Dway, Makalau, Kinrule09, Hubi, Marcos Conchas, Wolf X Blake and Moon Macarons, Demon Kid Zaraki, Spencer Cady, Leanne Mustafa, Brooke, Frequent Positron, Nick Waterman, The Legend of Groose, Vedran Hotik, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, Brady Power, Douglas Chomix, and our new EP for today, Flaming Highwaymen. Thank you all so much for your support. And remember, you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where you can watch today's News Tonight live, like our live audience patrons today, for as little as $5 a month. But we do offer a range of ways you can get involved in supporting us if you so choose. But as a reminder, even if you don't, we're just happy to have you here. And even if you just like and subscribe, we love you for that too. So as always, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody, and good night and good vibes.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I waved the injured hand. That didn't feel great. Ow.